Concord is shut down. That's crazy. Gaming industry is doing well, huh? Very,
Yes.
very well. It's
Very well.
they how much did this
Shut
cost?
up.
50 trillion. They made another live service action game and they decided to shut it down like immediately.
Oh.
8 years of development, 2 weeks of game time. That's crazy. Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback. We're ceasing sales immediately and closing the game.
I've got a solution. Do the thing that everybody did. Don't play the trillion billion game that nobody likes. Play games that you like. Actually, how does that even reflect on the gaming industry as a whole? Doesn't that mean that the gaming industry is in a better place than you'd think? If a crappy live service game is spat out and nobody plays it, doesn't it indicate a certain amount of health within the gaming industry, that this sort of practice will not be just blindly allowed by the consumers? Ah yes, Ukrainians are just sassy Poles. It seemed to be blocked on your chat side, but I just wanted to say, of course, you should do more stuff about Poland. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice. Tax write-off scheme? No. It just massively underperformed. It had 660 peak players. It might actually be one of the greatest gaming flops of all time in terms of investment. And man, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. They speedrun.
Okay, how does a single game flop reflect the state of the entire gaming industry? The gaming industry is a huge industry, and the title is that the gaming video games are over or something. Clickbait. Much, Vaush? Then again, Vaush says that Skyrim is a bad game, and apparently it's a masterpiece, even though I've never played it to completion or much at all. But I trust my sources that claim that it's a masterpiece with great lore and what have you.
Run closing it down. It's crazy. The gaming industry is cooked. Finance guys make all the decisions, so they're like, the big money right now is in live service game models, so we're just gonna gun for that and hope it works out. Anyone been playing Diablo 4 lately? If the answer is yes, then your mind is cooked. You're trash. Nah, I played D4.
Oh wait, there's so many successful good games that are not live. There's a whole movement against the live service model. How can everything be cooked if everything seems to be going in a good direction, since people playing games do not just blindly eat up new live service games. What?
Know it's shit. As long as you know it.
What is the thesis of this video? I'm gonna critique. I'm gonna make my critiques known. Floppy disks. Well, which ones? I mean the small, stiff ones or the big, wobbly ones? Oh yeah, you're right. See, only fake Alec Kyle Parker cares about. Only fake Alec Kyle Parker cares about my stream and watches it actively and cares about what's happening on the screen proper. Or maybe everybody just listens to my stream and loves my voice and loves to look at my big face instead of Vaush. Well, you've chosen Vaush over me, so there you go. Wow, do I not exist, Lucy? You exist. Wait. Where did that question come from? Skyrim isn't perfect. The gameplay can at times feel redundant, especially the higher your skills get, but the game is overall just beautiful, vast, and enjoyable. True. Don't forget what rocket launcher? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
it's shit. As long as you know it's shit. Diablo 2 is better than 4. Diablo 3 is better than 4.
That is depressing.
By a pretty significant margin.
Diablo
Everybody
3.
just wants to make a damn live service game, you know? This is
True,
wild. I
including
feel
me.
bad. Can you imagine being like one of the devs on this game who were just thanklessly toiling away at some element of it that was competently managed, but it doesn't even matter because at the end of the day it was flawed from the beginning? Like if you were just doing art assets or basic coding work or whatever. It was in development for 8 years. It was the studio's first game. I love to open with a live service game,
True,
you know?
same.
4% of users like this video game. That's crazy.
True, it is crazy.
Players speedrunning the game to get the most achievements before the shutdown. When you have games that are almost like Finance Bros are at the top, you basically guarantee occasional outcomes like this. It's like that old adage about Hollywood, you know?
I don't actually.
A Western movie does well, so Hollywood executives don't think, oh, good movies do well. Instead, they think Westerns do well. Pirates of the Caribbean did well, so they don't think, oh, good movies do well. They think, oh, pirate movies are in, you know? They're always chasing trends. A lot of them don't
I
really...
mean, I'm sorry, but saying good movies do well is as meaningless a statement as Westerns do well. It's even more meaningless because Westerns actually have a specific vibe. Westerns have a specific structure. So you're actually saying more when you say Westerns do well when you say good movies do well, because good movies can be anything. What does that even mean? It's such a meaningless statement. Good movies do well. What can Westerns not be good movies? Are Westerns and good movies two separate categories that can never meet? Two completely different things. What does that statement even mean? Good movies do well, of course. But then you can say Westerns that are good movies do well, and suddenly your statement becomes completely meaningless. Sorry to say. I have no clue what this, I don't know, opposition of Westerns and good movies is. He's supposing that people picking movies have a good. He's supposing that people picking movies have good taste and are deliberately picking bad movies. Are you saying Vaush is saying Westerns are bad movies? Is Vaush hating on Westerns? Listen, I'm not a right-winger, so I can debate Vaush because Vaush said debating right-wingers is useless. I'm gonna debate Vaush on Westerns, I guess. So, oof, that's a no-no for me. If Vaush is saying that Westerns are not good movies. Ugh, gonna have a debate on our hands. If that's the case. He'll call you a fascist. It's okay. I'm willing to take that risk of being called a fascist in the name of defending Westerns from Vaush. Now, he's not saying Westerns are bad. He's implying that good and bad are objective qualities. But then he gave an example of good movies versus Westerns. So,
believe in quality, and they don't really believe in the art of movie making or game making or whatever else. They just think of it as like a series of tropes or attributes that shift with time, and as long as you follow the market, you make the money. The thing is, the game doesn't look half bad. It really never mattered how good the game was because people don't play live service games because they're good or bad. They play them because other people are playing them. They play them because their friends are playing them. The actual quality of the game is secondary, tertiary, maybe. Uh,
That's not true at all. That's not true. I will push back against that. The best example of that is Final Fantasy 1.0. Final Fantasy 14 1.0, which almost ruined the entirety of the Final Fantasy 14 for Final Fantasy franchise period. It 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 almost ruined Final Fantasy as a franchise. And yet, even though at the end of 1.0 nobody played it, nobody wanted to play it, the game still made a return with Final Fantasy 14 A Realm Reborn, and people started playing it again. And since at the start nobody played it, it could not be played just because other people played it, because it had to rebuild a reputation from scratch, from zero, from having a negative reputation among everybody. So that's not even true. That people only play live service games solely because other people play it. Quality actually does, believe it or not, play a role in it. And it does matter if a game is good or not, as evident by the example that I've just given with Final Fantasy XIV, which at the beginning almost killed the entire series and then was remade and reborn.
it barely even matters. People aren't playing Fortnite as much as they're playing Fortnite because of Fortnite's quality. They're playing Fortnite as much as they're playing Fortnite because everybody else is playing Fortnite. It's a shared social space that everyone else can jump into. When you make live service games, you're basically like hinging the success of your product on the ability for you to not only make a good game that is popular, but that will become a dominant space that people continue to play and engage.
I mean, FF14 has an exception. Well, an exception checks the rule, doesn't it? Yes, that's the actual saying. It doesn't say confirms the rule, it say checks the rule. To actually... Okay, let's go that route. To assume that, to assert that people play games no matter what the quality and just because it's a shared experience, you would have to establish that Fortnite has low quality and that people play it in spite of the low quality for the shared experience. And it still doesn't explain why people would choose Fortnite when there's tons of live service games to choose from. There are tons of such shared experiences. There's not 2 or 3 live service games on the market. That's not the point. And where there wasn't an exception, there wouldn't be a rule. Because the exceptions can very easily check if the rule holds up or not. No. So it actually still does not explain why people play Fortnite and specifically over any other live service game. And it still does not tell me anything about the quality of Fortnite, if it's good, bad, if people play it in spite of its quality. Because it just says a lot of people play Fortnite. Why? Because people play Fortnite. But that's... I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm saying is that the exceptions can check if the rule holds up. If you have enough exceptions, then maybe a different rule is true. Maybe the rule that you've established is not true and a different one is true. Have you considered that? Maybe a completely different rule holds up. Just because there is a rule, it doesn't follow that it's this specific rule that you say is the case. Well, how did it happen then that a lot of people started playing Fortnite? Is my question. Because Fortnite was not the first live service game. It was not some how you call it, pioneer in the genre. Hello, imagination scene. So that explanation makes no sense, because Fortnite also had to start somewhere. And there were already a lot of other live service games on the market before Fortnite was as popular as it is. So the explanation is a lot of people play Fortnite because a lot of people play Fortnite regardless of any of its traits or qualities. Makes no sense. We are gaming indeed. Well, if it's a combination, then it's already not just a lot of people play Fortnite because a lot of people play Fortnite. Actually, Fortnite was not even all that popular from the beginning. Fortnite started as a game with a cooperative mode. And that cooperative mode was not popular. A lot of people did not play Fortnite at that time, actually. So already the explanation that a lot of people play Fortnite because a lot of play Fortnite does not hold up to scrutiny. Because Fortnite did not start up as a very popular game. It only started getting as popular after adding the Battle Royale mode. Only then did it actually get off the ground as much as it did. I was being facetious. Well. Have you played Thank Goodness You're Here? It's pretty funny. I haven't, actually. Where's the rocket launcher? Where is the rocket launcher? So yes, there was a time when Fortnite was not played by many people, and then it added a special mode. It was supposed to be a side mode, by the way, and then the side mode took off so well that it suddenly became the main mode, and a lot of people started playing the game. So let's not say that it doesn't even matter if what the qualities of the game are.
With. And you cannot guarantee that. It's like making a new social media platform, you know? People aren't using Twitter over Threads or Blue Sky because they're super committed to the UI or interface of Twitter or whatever. They're doing it
that's not true. That's absolutely not true. Like, you're defeating your own argument, because social media are not the same as video games. If that were true, no matter how bad World of Warcraft would get, it would not lose subscribers. No matter how bad World of Warcraft would get, people would still stick to it. And yet, Final Fantasy XIV managed to catch up with World of Warcraft. So, there you go. The fact that Final Fantasy XIV managed to catch up to World of Warcraft sort of defeats this whole argument. That when Final Fantasy sort of rose in quality and World of Warcraft had a crisis in quality, a lot of people just migrated to the other game. Too late. Too late, I went to the next level. No rocket launcher for me. Well, that is his prerogative to skip the main quality of the game. That is his choice to make. That is his cross to bear.
Because the people are on Twitter. That's it.
Like, keep in mind, social media are basically just empty vessels for people to occupy and interact. The interaction is the main thing. But in video games, you have actual video games, you have the gameplay, you have the everything. You cannot say that about social media to the same degree as video games. So it's not a one-to-one comparison. Comparing it one-to-one like this makes absolutely no sense. Like, people will not play MMOs or first-person shooters or RTS games regardless just for the company. People will, for example, fluctuate towards the genre that they're familiar with, the gameplay that they're familiar with, the games that they're good at playing, apart from the social element alone. Well, yeah, of course he didn't think much of it. He never experienced it.
Live service games are basically FOMO monetized. I think they should be illegal. I think that games where it's like, oh, every week tune in to get your like weekly roll on the thingy, I think that these should be made illegal. I mean it, like it should be criminal to make them. Any system where you are basically like put on a schedule for playing it, you might have to work around this a little bit, because obviously I don't think Stardew Valley should be illegal. You know, I don't think it should be like, oh, you missed your crop, like,
Oh my gosh. Vaush is so sort of, Jesus Christ, that's not remotely the same concept. That's oh god. Is he really okay, comparing Stardew Valley to there's okay, do I have to explain why the FOMO mechanics in those gacha games and other live services are totally different than Stardew Valley? Why in Stardew Valley missing a crop is just part of the mechanic of the game of taking care of your farm. You can restart the game and you cannot miss the crop. And those gacha game live servicey things are based on, well, the fear of missing out. They say, oh, if you don't get this at this time, you're missing it forever. Like, what? What is this? This comparison makes absolutely no sense. It's like saying, hey, I don't want to illegalize fighting games in which if you don't press punch fast enough, you'll get hit and die. You know? Oh, Jesus. The fact that I need to explain why these things are different makes me really, really sad. Makes me sad and
like harvesting date, you're cooked. You know, I don't think that should like get people arrested. Maybe, but there's definitely.
I hope it was some. I hope this was an attempt at humor. I sincerely hope this was an attempt at humor.
Definitely a version of this that's serviceable. Making updates illegal, God willing, one.
Taking care of crops mechanic in Stardew Valley is not FOMO. What, fear of missing out on your crops in the game that centers around farming? It's just.
Day. They should be illegal, but not mine. I don't like Stardew Valley. I just mean I think there's a very predatory version of this in live service games. Stardew Valley
No,
isn't.
there's not! What the fuck? How can you compare these things? They're totally different. They're not even remotely connect those for me. Like, hold on. Maybe you connect it for me. Oh, God. Please connect it for me.
Live service. It's just a game that has timers. A live service game is like it's very, very different. The constant like drip feed of new content that's constructed so that you can only access tiny bits of it at a time because they can only make so much, but you've got to keep hooked every week, you know?
That is nothing like Stardew Valley. That has nothing to do with Stardew Valley. That's just... Also, you don't miss your crops. You cannot miss your crops. You can neglect them and then they will die or whatever. But you cannot miss your... whatever.
Stardew doesn't run while it's closed? Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, then.
Oh, fuck me, Vaush. Come on. What? Really? Oh, so that's where he was going with this. He thought that Stardew Valley kept running in real time when you were not playing it, and that you could miss your crops and they would die if you don't play it regularly. Jesus fucking Christ. He really did think that Stardew Valley functioned like this. Vaush hates Helldivers. Why? Oh, he hates, well, not super democracy. It's limited democracy or whatever. What the hell? Maybe I should debate him on Stardew Valley. Damn. The hell's happening?
In Animal Crossing.
Those are totally different games. Those are totally different games. Animal Crossing is a totally different game than Stardew Valley. Oh.
Whatever. You get the point.
What do you mean whatever? Not whatever. I don't get the point. You've muddied the point so far that I don't get your point anymore.
Regulations about it or something.
You want to do regulations on this thing that you have no clue about? Oh God. What a dystopian future is in store for us.
Limited time events like not I don't know. We're not discussing the specifics of the model. I just think that it's shit and it's bad, you know? That's it.
I have no idea how the model works, but I just call it shit. That's just I'm not sure that's the route you go with when you analyze anything. Oh, authoritarianism. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty, but I just know it's bad. Okay. Like, come on.
I think it's doo-doo from a butt. All right? I think it's bad for the human psyche. I think it's bad for games in general. I don't think it facilitates...
I
don't think it begets good...
I do agree, but also not all live service games are the same. Not all live service are games that require you to tune in regularly that to get whatever. Again, Final Fantasy XIV is a live service game. And the creators regularly encourage people to be like, hey, once you're done with the content that you like, you can just not subscribe anymore and take a break from our game and return when something else that you like comes around. That's a live service game. So there's not even a one coherent model for the so-called live service games. I'm just here to inform you. Not all live service games are gacha games that require you to regularly check in for bonuses or gameplay or whatever. Not every live service games even drip feeds you content.
Game. It's doo-doo garbage. I don't like it when games use FOMO. Yeah.
Not all live service games use
But Vaush-
FOMO, for that matter.
Isn't this kind of similar to your talk about South Korean social media being toxic? You said banning those wouldn't help. Nope, those are two completely different things, because the underlying problem there was the socialization of men, and in this case, it is literally the game design that I'm talking about. It's not a cultural issue.
There's no uniform game
Destiny
design
2
for
to be
all...
designed the way that it is. It's just the way it's designed.
There's no uniform game design for all live service games. There's just not. They're different models. Some of them are better, some of them are worse, but they're not equally bad across the board. It's incorrect. It is not true. I refute that claim.
You should make a video. Oh, wait, sorry. You should go over a video saying Concord failed because it's woke. That would be fun. Oh, I'm sure. Like, you can... Didn't Concord have, like, a non-binary character or something like that?
Oh, God.
So the robot in the new Concord game has gender identity. Okay.
Oh.
And that's on the Asmongold subreddit.
No.
He, him. The robot was he, him.
Damn.
Destiny 2 removed so much FOMO from the game. Players are mad they don't have things to chase. Yeah, and I think those people have a spiritual sickness. I genuinely do, you know? I think that like the fact that people rely on game design like that, they're relying on like structure in their lives that they need to impose themselves, you know? They want to have little chores and tasks. You have them. There are dishes piled up in your sink. When was the last time you washed your bed sheets? You know? I don't like this way of
what
like...
does have to do with anything? That makes no... I'm sorry, that argumentation makes absolutely no sense. If you play a game, then you want to have something to do in the game, no? You play a game to do something in the game, otherwise you just won't play the game. What does that have to do with real life chores? If you have real life chores to do, then just don't play video games. But what? If you have work to do or chores or whatever, then you just don't play video games, no matter if they have FOMO or not. What's happening here? What is this? Clean your room, bucko. You have duties, just don't play video games. FOMO or not.
Engaging with a... We would never expect or accept any of this in another form of media, right? Like, you know, like a movie where you're required to pause and then continue watching the movie later. I guess TV shows have staggered release, but I think there's a meaningful difference between like sitting down for an episode of TV and then the next week there's another episode, and like a million... I guess the main issue to me is that so many of the live service games are designed to be manipulative with your time in a million shitty little ways. That, to me, it's not like the big thing. It's not, oh, this week a new thing happens. It's that you log on and then here's your daily log-on bonus. You now have, like, here are your weeklies. Here are the little, crafting materials that you only get a daily allotment of that you can now do. These mobs only respawn at this time, and you can only do this within this time. And if you miss the time slot, you have to wait until tomorrow, and that means you're behind the gear. Like this and this and that. It's like 50 million little things that are all designed to interlock and make you feel stressed about missing out on stuff. Whereas if you miss out on an episode of TV, motherfucker, it's all streamed now. You can just watch it like tomorrow. It's not the same. It doesn't demand your time in the same way.
Again, it depends on the game. It depends on the games. Not all live service games are the same. Not all live service games utilize the same mechanics. No, not all live service games utilize the same predatory mechanics to the same degree. So we cannot make a universal claim across the board. Even with this. Like,
yeah, I agree. It exploits addiction, and it imposes a kind of false structure that feels satisfying to adhere to, but in reality, it's very manipulative. Also, live service games eventually die, which hurts the preservation of art like movies and games. Yeah, does that ever, like, make you feel a little bit sad? I know we have WoW Classic now, but for live service games that go on for a while, a version of the game that used to exist literally no longer does and never can. You know? It will never exist again. If you have a regular game where it just releases and then that's the game, it's like, okay, that's the game. I can always go back and play that. But imagine all the classic games that you get to play today, like, I don't know, Fallout New Vegas. I guess that's not really classic, right? That doesn't go back that far. But like Super Mario 64 or, you know, Super Mario World or like however far back you want to go. Fallout 1, Neverwinter, whatever you want to do, right? Imagine if that version of the game just didn't exist anymore. Like your childhood, the experience that you had when you were young, literally can't be...
Okay, let's be honest. At this point, you can easily Okay, I'm restarting everything. At this point, you can easily classify New Vegas as a classic, okay? Time moves forward. Vaush. Time moves forward, ever forward. New games become classics all the time. You don't, you know. How old is New Vegas at this point? Fallout New Vegas. Wiki. How old is it? If it's over 20 years old or something, then it's classic. 14 years old? Yeah, it's a classic. Cope about it. It's a classic. It's like 14 years old and it's a classic. Come on.
Accessed unless you have some, and not only can it not be accessed without modding, the modding might not work either, because if these games are live service, you can't just like create a version of it. You can't have like mod makers who just extract a version of it that was like what you played when you...
If only there was this thing called private servers that people could make and, you know, create the earlier version of the live service games. You know, the thing that actually happens all the time and people take advantage of it. Just saying. Just saying. I mean, classic does not mean unattractive. And then not classic does not mean attractive. That is also true. But a lot of live service games do present those things in a pretty manipulative way. Especially if people are completionists, then that will really mess with your mind if you miss certain time-limited events. If you're a completionist that wants to collect every single thing in games, then that will mess you up.
You were young, you played an experience that was temporal. It only existed at that moment. This is why piracy is made. But piracy can't fix this. There is nothing that you can do to bring back, like, the way Final Fantasy 14 played back in 2017 or whatever. You cannot do it. You can play the content that was made at that time. You can like build out a version of the game that only has the content that was made up to that point in time, but you can't reconstruct the live service model, right? Couldn't you run a private server? Not necessarily. There are serious limits to that.
But you can.
Do you mean the balancing? Like, you absolutely can with private servers. I know more than you, and I don't care to argue it with you, okay? I was playing World of Warcraft back when we were running Molten Core, okay? I don't need to hear it from you. I know exactly...
And I played Lineage too. What's your point? And Final Fantasy XI is older than... What does playing World of Warcraft with Molten Core have to do with private servers and what they can do nowadays? That makes absolute... What? What does that statement have to do with anything? What are you talking about? Huh? Hey, I played World of Warcraft a long time ago. I know anything about how private servers work. Or did you play it on a private server or something?
how the shit works. I know more than you. Me walking by you in like the Home Depot.
Clearly not if you use this as an example. Well, that's true, but a lot of people play on those private servers, trust me.
When you're asking me if
also, a lot of like Final Fantasy 14 has made big strides to become accessible for single player playthroughs. Like Final Fantasy 14 really moved in the direction of being able to be completed in single player mode. Basically, you can just go into dungeons with NPCs now. You can just finish the story completely on your own without doing it with anybody else. For more and more of the story content.
If I need like new drill bits or whatever, I've got plans. Anyway, it does. That's the balancing changes actually do meaningfully impact the game. I really loved how Resto Shaman played in Legion back in World of Warcraft. That version of playing the shaman doesn't exist anymore.
What does that have to do with private servers? It has nothing to do with the argument about private servers. It's nothing at all. What's happening? What is this lack of argumentation that I'm hearing? What is this weakness? Also,
you can still play Resto Shaman, but every new expansion, they change the way the spells work, and you rearranges everything. No. You know, that version of the game cannot be played anymore. You know? Oh, but you can go in a private server and do it. Yeah, you're gonna get 50,000 other people to join you in your private server to mimic the experience.
Yes, because Vaush at all times plays with 15,000 people. Like, get over yourself. Come on. Yes, 15,000 people play, but you do not experience as an individual playing with 15,000 people at once. You're deluding yourself if you think so. If you think that you genuinely experience playing with 15,000 people at once. That is so meaningless to say. I'm sorry, but for you as an individual, if 200 people, 300 people play on a private server, that's more than enough for you. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. You do not experience 15,000 people at once as an individual playing an MMO. Jesus Christ. How embarrassing for a person that said that he knows so much more than everybody else because he's done the Molten Core. rewind time. True. Okay. Alright. Alright then. Jesus. And actually, the private server thing has not been addressed at all. Apart from the fact that Vaush thinks you can experience playing with 15,000 people at once on the official server somehow. Yeah, but whatever.
Experience of playing raids at Endgame Legion as the Resto Shaman from Endgame Legion? You're just going to bring the whole world with you because it's a live service game that requires always online connection?
Yeah, quite a lot of people play on private servers, believe it or not. That's why they keep existing, because there's a demand for it. Yes, believe it or not, people actually play them, especially the popular ones. So maybe you don't know as much as you thought that you did. Jesus Christ Almighty. I did not think that this would be an argument that I have to make. If nobody played on private servers, because believe it or not, those actually require a lot of effort, maintenance, etc., then nobody would make them, nobody would bother. Nobody upkeeps empty private servers that nobody plays on. What? Oh boy.
Meaning you might be able to build an instance version of it that conforms to your will, but you can't bring the rest of the world with you? Think!
That is such an empty argument. Because if there's enough people that want to play the older version of the game, and there's a private server that does that, then yeah, a lot of people will play in that private server. That was the case before World of Warcraft Classic. A lot of people played on private servers that offered what World of Warcraft Classic did. Why do you think Blizzard jumped on that ship to begin with? Because there was the demand on it, and there were very popular private servers that offered it. Some of the private servers actually, I'm pretty sure, created their own forms of subscription models for upkeeping them. So yes, there's a demand, there's a player base there. So that's stupid.
Impermanence is a part of art. I kind of reject that. I think one of the nicest parts of the modern world is the fact that we can, like, that's an argument for never recording anything. Why have songs on a device, you know? You can just have music from a band that you listen to once, right? That's part of the art of it, you know? I don't know. It's just a little bit sad. It's a bad model.
It's like he's smuggling in his grudge against Clouds with a couple of good points about live service games. It's just, yeah, you totally can create a private server version of the game that you're so nostalgic for. The question is if enough people will play it. If there's enough of people that think like you, then yes, they will go to that private server and you will have your nice experience. How do I know? I know because that happens. That happens all the time. That happened with Warcraft. And then Blizzard looked at it and said, wait, why not just shut down all the private servers and bring all those people to us and make a WoW Classic or whatever? That is what happened. I'm sorry to say. Also, where is that rocket launcher, Arkel? I think speaking angry and authoritatively makes him right. It's interesting how much I notice these patterns now. Interesting. Maybe I should talk more angrily and more authoritatively. Maybe then I would be the top trans person on the food chain of food. I've watched a very interesting thing today. Well, not watched, listened to the radio. There was an episode, a broadcast about the Los Angeles aqueduct. Oh. Like here? I did. What now?
Model of game. I just don't like it. Impermanence can be like part of an experience, but we're talking about a piece of media here, you know? Just because you don't like something doesn't mean it should be illegal. Disagree, actually. If I dislike something, it should be illegal. Thank you. Thank you. Waiter,
What now?
more morally reductive arguments, please. Super, super manipulative live service model elements in games, I think, should be regulated. Because that shit... Yeah. But not all live service games have that element,
Yeah.
right? Like Counter-Strike is a live service game to an extent, in the sense that you have the updates and the so on and so forth, but it's kind of a hands-off one, right? I mean, you're basically just playing an online multiplayer game. It's sort of like a sliding scale from you're basically just
Oh,
handling...
there you go. Vaush acknowledges what I said earlier. So why the rant from before becomes pretty useless then? Isn't it? Oh. Got him. Thank you.
a online multiplayer game to you're having like daily chests that you open, you know? Like Genshin Impact, dude. You know? You people, you have no idea. Deep Rock and Warframe. There's a lot of stuff. Chest opening animations alone are very toxic and manipulative. Yeah. It's weird that I can play Nintendo 64 games, classic PlayStation games.
Chess opening animations are present in single player games that are not live service games at all. So, have pretty long chest opening animations in 1,000,000,000% single player games. In game casino, it's like with Grand Theft Auto 5. That also has an in-game casino.
Games, Xbox, etc., but I can't play some games released in the past decade. Yeah, it is. It's genuinely quite strange. Yeah. Yeah. Just makes me sad to think about, I guess.
What? What do you mean?
Oh, shit. Concord is the first game developed by Firewalk Studios, a studio located in Bellevue. That's right across the pond, Lake Washington. Is there really a way to make some live service games have any permanence, though? I'm not going to lie, man. I really just think you guys need to play more single-player games. You need to play more single-player games or multiplayer games that are literally just, I start a server, we play the game. The idea that every game has to be a massive $200 million event with constant...
Not every game is. There are tons of single-player games. They keep getting released. What are you talking about? Just this year, the Star Ocean 2 remake was, well, at the end of last year, was released. Star Ocean 2 remake. Eiyuden Chronicle, the crowdfunding game, was just released this year. What are you talking about? Not all games are live service games. What? Okay.
Like tweaking by the devs and balance changes and updates and new content. That's not sustainable. And I think it makes you miserable.
No, what?
All the people who say shit like, bro, gaming has gotten so tiring, and then you look at their Steam library, 2,400 hours played, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, 623 hours played, PUBG. It's like, no.
The most amount of hours that I've been playing recently was Civilization 6. Is that a live service game, Civilization 6?
Wonder, you keep playing. There's more games out there. There's no more money in single player games.
That's
literally
not true.
incorrect. like
not true.
objectively, factually incorrect. It's just that greedy finance guys keep chasing the biggest possible bag because
Okay, is Elden Ring a live service game? I don't think it count. I don't think it is, honestly. Elden Ring is not a live service game, right? It's pretty popular. It made good money. I'm heading out. Bye, Lou. Oh, okay. I'll see you. Bye, Kyle Parker.
they all want to be Fortnite or Overwatch or whatever. Didn't Wukong, Black Myth Wukong, just make $50 trillion? Elden Ring made $50 trillion.
There you
Baldur's
go.
Gate 3 made $50
There
trillion.
you go.
Single player games have to be targeted to niche audiences. Disagree. Tons and tons and tons of people enjoy.
I mean, people don't understand the word niche, which is even evident by what Vaush said. Niche does not mean small audience. Niche means specific audience that looks for a specific thing. That is what niche means. Hold on. At least in the business world or whatever. Yeah, exactly. That's the second definition in the definition. A specialized segment of the market for a particular kind of product or service. But that does not mean small. You're gonna have a gigantic niche for something. You're gonna have a gigantic niche for an RPG like Baldur's Gate 3 because a lot of people played it. You have a gigantic niche for, like, it just means that it's like a specialized segment, that it's for people that are looking for a particular thing. But it does not mean a small niche. No, I don't think he did. I'm gonna rewind and see. Maybe I just didn't pay attention.
Targeted to niche audiences.
No,
Disagree.
to niche audiences. Up yours. He didn't say small niche. Up yours, an Entropy fan, for gaslighting me. We're gonna listen again for the third time. Jesus Christ, I'm being gaslit.
Tons and single player games have to be targeted to niche audiences. Disagree.
There you go. I win. Single player games have to be targeted to niche audiences. Yeah, single player games preferably are are tailored to a specific audience. Yeah, that's good actually, for them to be tailored to a specific audience, to aim for a specific mood, for a specific gameplay type, etc. And the niche for that can be actually really, really big. Niche does not mean small audience. It just means that what you're doing is tailored towards a specific audience. But that specific audience can be actually really, really big. And people don't seem to understand that little fact. Yeah, exactly. Because games have genres, games have specific gameplay, and they're targeted towards a specific audience. Yeah. But again, that specific audience can be like hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people. Niche does not mean small audience. And people often think that it does. But it doesn't. It doesn't at all. It doesn't at all.
Tons and tons and tons of people enjoy Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, that's a huge, 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 huge game. Admittedly, more of an event
but
game.
that's, oh my god. People don't understand the word niche and what it means, but whatever. Oh yeah, but it's not what it means. When whatever.
Game, but even before they released multiplayer for Grand Theft Auto, you know, GTA 5 is online. You don't say shit like that unless you're willing to get banned over it. GTA 5 released as a single-player experience. GTA 5 Online released later in its full state. The popularity of GTA 5 is an endorsement of the popularity of single-player games. They yearn for the slop. But it doesn't have to be super huge AAA either. Yeah, I don't know, John Paul 238. People just like being contrarian. The
Like
swift
you.
shutdown was attributed to several factors: failure to differentiate itself from established hero shooter games like Overwatch and Apex Legends. Critics
The
highlighted...
language prescriptivist, Lucy. Yes, in this case, yes. I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but when you say companies have to target, I mean, you can say that. You can say that, I mean, I'll just disagree then. Because that is not what you think targeting a game towards a niche audience is definitely not what a company thinks when it says that. It's not. I'm sorry. Listen, some people, when it comes to streaming, when I talk to other streamers who are bigger than me, they've said you have to find your own niche. Do you think they meant you have to find a small audience? Is that what they meant when they said it? When they say it to me? Listen, Lucy, in order to grow, you have to find a small audience. Is that the advice that I've been given? In order to become a bigger, I must seek out a small audience. When they say you have to find your own niche. Think on it. Think about it. Or maybe they say you have to find your own sort of specialty and people that will be attracted to that. Maybe that's what they mean rather than you have to find a small audience. Huh? 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 Yeah, that's right. I win this argument. I win this debate. No, it doesn't. What is the context in which I ask a bigger creator, hey, what do you think I could do to grow a bigger audience? And the context would be that the answer would be, oh, you have to find a small audience. Give me the context in which such an answer applies, and I'll applaud you. Boom.
that Concord lacked innovative gameplay mechanics with its character roster.
Vaush is right. You're just being a contrarian. There you go. Vaush is correct. Vaush pinned you.
Described as generic and its map design frustrating. The game also faced criticism for being a full-price release in a genre where most competitors are free-to-play.
Yeah.
Ugh. Also, we should get rid of free-to-play games.
No, what the?
They shouldn't
no,
exist.
What the? No, we shouldn't. That's stupid. That is such a stupid thing to say. There's so many good free-to-play games that are perfectly fine, that don't have predatory, whatever thing. No, that's just silly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say.
I mean it. If you're not buying the game, they're getting their money from somewhere else, and it's probably through a more deceptive and predatory practice. Yeah, free-to-play encourages predatory bullshit. You might think like, oh, I'll just play free-to-play, but somewhere out there, there's somebody who's being victimized through your, like, let's be real here, greed, your laziness. Like, you're thinking,
That's such a stupid thing to say.
I'll just play free to play. I have discipline. Not everyone does, man. And this is like a really predatory model where it's like some guy
Not
out
every
there's
single free-to-play game has predatory things in it. I'm sorry to say. There are actually free-to-play games that have purely... Isn't The Path of Exile a free-to-play game? Hold on. You don't have to buy The Path of Exile, right? It's a free-to-play game. And I'm pretty sure The Path of Exile does not have predatory mechanisms in it. Does it? Does Path of Exile have any predatory mechanisms in it? That's a free-to-play... Hold on. Is Path of Exile free-to-play? Or am I mistaken? Because if Path of Exile is free to play, then that defeats the whole argument outright. Is it? Is Path of Exile a free to play game? Because I'm pretty sure it is, and it does not have predatory monetization. Nobody knows if Path of Exile is a free-to-play game?
emptying his savings account to keep playing Warframe.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I get you don't want to
I'm
pay.
pretty sure it is as well. So what? Should Path of Exile be banned or be, like, I don't know, be forced to put a price tag on it? A price of entry? That makes no sense. I'm sorry. That's just silly.
But because you're not paying, they're now endorsing a model that, like, some people are really vulnerable to it, you know?
It's a silly
Do you
argument.
enjoy playing video games? I mean it. I think there's a really big distinction between, like, waking up in the morning where you have time off and you think, oh, I'm excited to do this thing, versus the, like, oh, I have this thing to do in the game. The difference between playing a section in a video game and being invested and engaged, and playing it and going like, yep, I'm checking the boxes that I have to do. I remember getting into cycles with World of Warcraft where I would think, wow, I've gotten so good at this game that I got everything done that I can do today in, like, 2 hours, and I've basically cleared my weeklies too. Like, I just did like Mythic plus 17 and all the dungeons or whatever. I just got all
I mean,
the
that's cool, but World of Warcraft is especially notorious about this. Because there's nothing else to do in World of Warcraft. So, whatever.
drops. I need the crafting material stuff. I've completed all of the, like, local like world events or whatever, and I did it so efficiently. And it's like,
Good.
efficiently, is that what I'm doing this for? Because I wasn't excited for a moment during any of that.
I mean,
Like,
that is a stupid take on its face, because you can apply it to every single... You can apply it to every single game. Resident Evil. I'm gonna take the easiest example. Resident Evil, single player game. Many people wanted to play in the most efficient way. Avoid all the zombies, don't use your ammunition, play the game as fast as possible to unlock all the rewards or whatever if you get the good rating. Don't save as much as possible in order to get the rewards or whatever. People go for efficiency in single player games as well. People self-impose efficiency in many video games, just like in the aforementioned Resident Evil, when people just want to avoid all the zombies instead of shooting them, for example, to save ammunition. Even though you end up with an overabundance of ammunition at the end of the game if you do that. So that's not even... That's like whatever.
I guess it's impressive, and I'm proud of myself for doing really well, and I was pretty good at WoW when I was good at WoW. But, you know, that's not really the same as...
No, I don't.
Having fun, being excited.
It's like, playing the game, It's like saying, "Oh my God, playing the game competitively is bad because you're not having." Well, people play games for different reasons. If you have a fighting game and you spend hours daily honing your skill in a game, to a degree you're having fun, but to a degree you're sort of turning into a disciplined thing. Does that diminish the experience of playing the game all of a sudden? Does it? Not necessarily. It depends of what your goal is when playing games. No? Not everybody plays games for the same reasons. And that's, I would assume that's fine. Is that okay for people to play games for different reasons? Also, doing things efficiently does not necessarily exclude fun, because believe it or not, people also derive fun from different things. For some people, doing things in the most efficient way is fun. There we go.
The difference between watching a TV show where you're kind of engrossed in it and having just some reality TV TLC slop show playing on the second monitor while you're doing something else, right?
Well,
like, you're just...
I'm sorry, Mr. Elitist. Different strokes for different folks. Some people enjoy that. I'm sorry to say, Mr. Elite of the elite. That is the judge of which entertainment form is deemed worthy. Damn.
Sometimes things fill time and sometimes they excite you. I'm gonna have Disco Elysium or Outer Wilds or whatever stuck in my head forever, but I can barely remember any.
Well, that's good, but you can also play those games inefficiently and you can play those games efficiently. Hate to break it to you. Hate to break
specific moments from playing World of Warcraft Legion, and the only moments that I do remember were the social ones, helping my guild beat heroic kill Jaden. You know, I remember
that is the point of playing these games. Yes. Well, in Final Fantasy 14, it's also the story, but you've skipped it, so. Wah, wah, wah.
That because it took a while, because some of those guys were not on my level. It took a while. I was raid leading and main healing without dungeon boss mods, by the way. I was just raw dogging that information straight up here. I was like,
okay.
According to my calculations, in 4.8 seconds, you're all going to need to move to the center. Star.
Yeah, we get it. You're amazing. There you go. On that guy.
You know, I know my shit. Those are the moments that I remember, the social ones. But do I remember the hundreds of hours of me, like, efficiently clearing all of the mundane chores the game gave me? No, genuinely no. I remember the best parts of Hollow Knight. I remember the whole game pretty damn well, because the whole game's pretty good. Art games that have like a really compelling narrative or are very...
You know, you can do those boring daily things with people while interacting with them as well, which defeats their whole argument. You can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. Wow, that's mean. But yes, you can, in fact, do those things. Yes. You can multitask.
Experientially interesting, like Disco Elysium or Outer Wilds, or plenty others, you know? There are lots of parts of Doom Eternal that I remember, because that game was so sick that there were moments that stuck with me. Okay. But then there are games where it's just like, oh yeah, man, just spent another 8 hours playing, you know, WoW or whatever else. That was great. If you're doing stuff like that, it's got to be social. But it's not always social.
What the hell are you trying to say?
Dark Souls? Yeah, God, I have so many memories from my first time playing Dark Souls. I remember taking forever to get past that
How old is
bonfire in
Vaush?
Undeadburg, the one where you have to
How
cross
old
that.
is Vaush? 57? 65? Jesus Christ. How old is Vaush? 70? 85? What is this weird in the good old days? Or, oh gosh. It's not even with this topic only as well. It's been the same in his I don't debate the right anymore video. Oh, the space used to be so much better. People used to have arguments. You used to be able to win in blood sports. It all used to be so much better. Oh my gosh, but now the space has gotten rotten and I just cannot anymore. Okay. Jesus. The hell's happening? What the hell is happening here? He's too young to be yelling at the clouds. True. If anything, I should be the person yelling at the clouds.
A narrow bridge and they throw the firebombs at you and then you enter the room and there are two of them with a sword. You know what I mean? You know the one I'm talking about, right? Like right at the beginning. When I first played Dark Souls, that was my first FromSoft game. It took me forever to get past that area because it was like, dude, holy shit, they literally kill you in 3 hits. What the like, oh my god. Like, I remember there are so many fond memories from that. Yeah. The skeletons that have shields.
And also, this little tangent has nothing to do with the topic. Just saying. Absolutely nothing. Because there's still games like that. It's not like, oh gosh, do you remember Dark Souls? They don't make games like... Yes, they do. Yes, they do make games like that still. And you can play them. So what this little tangent has nothing to do with anything. So I'm not sure why it's included. Oh, he's not talking about Elden Ring, to be fair. He's talking about Dark Souls. So...
Or on the ramparts.
Also, the boss fights become definitely less prolonged if you use certain builds like bleed builds, etc. Bleed takes out a huge chunk of enemy's HP very quick. Just saying. Just saying.
Underneath the bridge when you're trying to scoot along them, and then you get past the last one and a rat comes out of the sewer. Remember? And the rat comes out of the sewer and 2 hits from the rat poison you. So you're trying to get back up there and you try to like dodge roll the rat, but it's hard because it's kind of like low. And if you try to swing too big, you hit the
what is the point of this? Okay, little rant. I mean, I do enjoy listening to a person being like passionate about a video game, but it has nothing to do with the topic of the video. Absolutely nothing. Is the title of the video video games are done or the industry is cooked, or is the title of the video man I love Dark Souls? Because I didn't tune in for the video called man I love Dark Souls. Like, what is the point of this little aside?
wall to your right, so you get hit twice and you're poisoned, and you don't have moss at this point in the game, so you're just like, that's like 3 Estus down, you know, I remember this. It was all constructed so well that it stuck with me for a long time after. I'm probably gonna, it's embarrassing, I'm gonna remember it like probably until I die. Like I'm gonna be, I don't know, 78 years old.
Well, congratulations, Vaush. You already act as if you were 80 something years old, so you're already basically living your fantasy. I am so embarrassed. Ay. Battlefield would have been so fun with poison rats that you have to juke for 10 minutes, right? It's almost as if different games are different. True.
On my deathbed, and I'm gonna be thinking, damn, that was a good ass game. I think that's cool. I like that about good art. And
That is, those are, I don't know why, but this made me actually really, really sad, thinking that Vaush will be on his deathbed, like thinking of his whole life, you know, his whole life is about to end moments from now. He sort of, the whole of his life, every single achievement, every single moment flashes before his eyes as he lies getting ready to meet with eternity or whatever. And the last thing he thinks is, man, that was a dope poison rat thing that I had to avoid in this cool game. I mean, again, different strokes for different folks, but you know, I don't know. It just, oh my gosh. The last thoughts of Vaush. I sure avoided the hell out of that rat.
I think that we should make an effort to seek out art that engages us that much, you know? Yeah, back rolling off the cliff, trying to run back from the rat, finding that the ladder drops down and you reconnect with that bonfire that's right before the bridge. It's wild how I can remember almost all the enemy placements in Souls games / Elden Ring, because the game makes you remember it, right?
Yeah, because of repetition, because of constant repetition. If you repeat something a million times, it's not funny that you will remember it. You'll just remember it. Do you know why? Because you've repeated it a million times. So yes, you will remember it. It has nothing to do with the magic of the art. What it has to do with repetition. Okay? Alright? Let's not get overboard with this. It's because of the core game mechanic that you die and you have to retake the same steps to get your souls back, etc., or whatever currency. The constant repetition makes you remember the enemy placements and locations, etc.
In the dungeony areas of Elden Ring especially. I remember that about the original Castlevania too. Every enemy placement was very deliberate in that game, whereas I don't really remember enemy placement.
Wait, which original Castlevania game? The the old Nintendo console one? Has Vaush even played that? I really question what he means by the original Castlevania game. Has Vaush even owned a Nintendo? The OG Nintendo?
As much in you know, the lesser Metroidvanias, like when you're playing Kino shit, like
there you go. Now we know that Vaush has not played the original Castlevania game. Why? Because the original Castlevania game was not a Metroidvania. So there you have it. Castlevanias only became Metroidvanias later on. Because Metroidvania does not just refer to a game in which you go through a dungeon or whatever. It refers to a specific maze-like structure to the game. And early Castlevania games did not have that. You had a pretty straightforward road forward that you had to just... You went straight from level to level. You did not have a Metroidvania structure to it at all. So there we go.
Like Hollow Knight or Blasphemous 1 to a lesser extent, but still good. The enemy placements are really memorable because it's like, oh, their ability just perfectly makes it difficult to do this thing that I need to do to get past them. They're not just like obstacles that take a second to go through.
There wasn't really a thing in Castlevania 1 because you did not have all that many abilities to choose from. To speak of.
You know? Okay, just a little bit. I'm not gonna... Okay, because I'm mostly just curious. What does Kino mean? It just means like cinema. It's all good. The audience... Okay, just a little bit, okay? I'm not gonna do well at this, by the way. There's no chance I do well at this. I don't have a good memory. I remember parts of Elden Ring. I don't remember the whole map. Are you kidding me? It's huge.
No,
Full
you don't
map?
remember.
Okay. Game length 5. Sure. Okay. It's better if you're not good. I suppose that's true. I'm not looking at... I'm going to open a new tab over my VGG feed.
What does that have to do with the video? What does that have to do with the topic? I know. It's a word in Polish. Kino. I know. Yes, I do know. I do know the word that is used in Polish to mean exactly that.
So that I can't look at chat. I'm going to try my... Oh, well, come on now. Okay, well, we're clearly on the Altus Plateau, right? Place pin on a map. Okay. Altus Plateau. We're quite close, but we're out of the... This is like near the area where you fight that dragon, right? Oh, the map looks so strange.
Kino.
With...
Yeah,
oh,
of course.
hold on.
Of course, it's a word in Polish.
The map looks so strange when you cut out all the areas that you can't traverse. Okay. So we've got walls over here and walls over here. Big... Where are you sandwiched between these two? Hold on, is this like on the path to the Thorned Castle place? Like something...
Okay,
That's the
can
real
those
air tree,
segments
right?
get any more sort of... Oh god, 81,000 views.
Right? That's not one of the lesser air
yes.
trees? That has to be the real air tree. Oh wait, there's a compass.
Oh my...
So the air tree is to the east. That is the real air tree, right? I'm not like being a fool over here.
You are.
I certainly hope I'm not being a fool.
You
Okay, so
are,
the air tree is like
but
directly to the east then. So yeah,
not-
it has to be over here then. It has
You
to be...
are being a fool, not for the reason that you think, but yes, you are. Jesus Christ.
be on the path up to the... So I'm going to guess right here then. Nope. Totally off. Oh, that's not the real air tree. That's the fake air tree. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. This is the lesser one. I'm not even looking at chat. I feel like such a fool. My face is red. Okay, let me redeem myself. Let me redeem myself.
Well, this little embarrassment has nothing to do with the topic of the video, but whatever.
Okay, we're in the what's the name of this area down here again? We're in this area. Yeah, there's the... Wait, no, are we in... Oh no, we're in Caelid. We're in Caelid. We're not in the lesser area.
Oh my god.
Thingy. I don't know the names of things. And we're by the tower. Is that the tower? Or is that just a tower? I think that's the tower. That's the one where you first fight the
Really?
the Godskin Apostle. Well, that's where I first fought him on my playthrough, because I hadn't yet gone to
Really?
the plateau.
that,
Yeah, see, over there, that's the area, that's the run-up to the... Right? Yeah. Yeah, that's the run-up to Redmane Castle. And that's the... Is that what the top of Redmane Castle looks like? It's got to be that big building at the end where you take the elevator down, right?
Sure.
So that would put us right here, right? Like right... Yeah, okay,
Oh,
I'm
Vaush.
sending it. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that. I'll take that. Okay. Hello, Altus. But okay, well this is a bit...
Thank you.
That's easier. Thank you for giving me like some Altus Plateau redemption then. We are... They literally have
What are you
the big
doing?
horses
This
right
video is about live services games and how video games are over. Elden Ring is not an old game. Didn't just receive an expansion or something. That's a new game. So how can you say that video games are over? Oh, come on. Come on, Vaush. Get a grip. Please. Get a grip on reality and life.
here. How far up the bridge are we? Yeah, we're on the first approach. So it's got to be somewhere right here. How close are we? Can I pin down like an exact... There's like a flat space right to our west. So... And this is directly to our south. So yeah, it's got to be... Or is it here? Are these the first? Yeah, they are the first horses. So it's here.
Horses.
Flat space to the west, things directly to the south. and we're looking off of a cliffside. Not really, but northeast is that. So yeah, it's got to be right here, right? Like I'm
stop
splitting
now,
hairs.
please?
38 meters away. That's
we
close
please
enough.
be
That's
done?
close enough. Easy. That one was too easy. We need a more difficult one. We're
No,
right next to
no,
a landmark.
no, we
Okay.
don't.
This one's harder, right? The
No,
lakes?
we don't, please.
Because it's
We don't. Really
it's all
don't.
kind of like wide and a little bit indistinct. Okay, so the Air Tree is directly northeast, which it's going to be from any direction here because it's far enough away that that's how perspective works. Okay, what about anything else?
I don't know.
The university is
don't
northwest, so we're somewhere in this ballpark. How close are we to the ruins? Wait, can I
don't
move around?
care.
I can move around? Well, that might actually be helpful for this one. Okay, wait, here, hold on. Almost directly north is this lesser air tree, but by quite a distance. So if this lesser air tree is almost directly north, and the university is almost directly northwest, that means the most logical place for me to be would be like
Not in this.
right around
thing
here,
that you're doing.
right?
Yes.
Somewhere in this area. How close am I to a cliff? The cliff would be directly to my east? Then, wait. It's not just north. It's a little northeast. So I guess I'm more here? A little more... How close am I to the broken bridge? You know, I'm in this area. I feel like if I get too prissy with it, I'm gonna be here for too long. It's not quite northwest either. It's northwest-west. So turn north-northwest.
Oh my god.
So slightly more north than west. So probably south of the bridge. Right here. I'm just gonna send it... you know, it's like an indistinct... All right, we're not calling anything crazy on that one. Last round.
No!
And then back to Liurnia. But this one's a lot easier because we're... You know, I don't think I've ever looked at it from this angle. Okay, well, the upper arch where the boulder fucks you is directly to the west. So... And that's that upper arch right there.
God have mercy.
So it's definitely
on my
somewhere here.
soul.
Somewhere in this strip right here. That's a guarantee. I'm right next to a ruin. Open space directly northwest. That'd be here. Okay, so somewhere right here then. And the ruin that I'm right next to is south-southwest. So ruin, that could be this one right here, I'm guessing? Ruin
Again,
right here,
nothing to do
south-southwest.
with
How
the
close am I to
video.
this relative to...
Topic.
Okay.
Subject matter.
So if
Whatever.
it's south-southwest, what if I'm right here? Please? Okay, it was this one, not this one. Wait, didn't I initially say it was this one and then I moved to this one when I'm dumb.
really
Because
don't
this one's
care.
directly east of the... well, you know what? It's okay. It's the sentiment that counts. So anyway, this shouldn't have been a thing. Okay, the point of all of this is that video games are good, but you have to make them good for them to be good. Okay,
Wow,
we're moving on.
that's so deep. That is so
Point
deep.
proven. Good video games are good. Okay, I'm opening...
Wow, okay. That was such a deep point to make that we really needed this whole thing to happen to make that point. There was absolutely no other way to demonstrate this point other than with this really bizarre show.